For a long time, it has felt like fights in Tarkov have slowly become faster due to the power creep of both gear availability and the swift improvement of players across the board. It's been incredible to watch many from the community improve so quickly. The only downside to that is they kill me so quickly now, which, hey, good on them for landing their first shot to head-eyes me back to the lobby so consistently. I am so proud of them. Anyways, gunplay and fights in Tarkov between players have gotten so quick it surprises me even to this day. Long gone are the days where most of your player encounters take multiple magazines of ammo, many different repositions, and multiple pauses for medications and stitching up. Granted, to say that this doesn't happen anymore at all would be a lie. I suppose I am more specifically talking about close quarters encounters, because ranged Tarkov is still peak Tarkov, and maybe that will be a conversation for another time. But with CQC, fights can be drawn out and interesting, or simply done with a single bullet. But the idea of longer fights in Tarkov is always exciting, and I wanted to go over why. So if you enjoyed this video or any other videos of mine, be sure to subscribe for more. Let's start with a simple reason as to why longer fights are better. No one likes to get instantly head-eyed in Tarkov. I mean, it's a meme at this point, for crying out loud. Just as much as the Wipe on Thursday meme that has been around for years. Nothing sucks more in this game than turning a corner or just spotting someone out in the distance. You line up the shot and then either whiff or they also see you, turn and just put you onto the floor. It's one of the most frustrating aspects of the game. Even when everything else in the game is working right, you feel powerless. You throw your hands up, say the dude had a better gaming chair, and move on. Deaths can be so quick in Tarkov. In the blink of an eye, you are back to your stash with no real sense of what happened or the ability to call out what you did wrong and adjust for next time. In a single bullet, your confidence shatters, and you even start wondering why you still play this game anymore. It's fun, but these moments are so much salt on the wound, it brings salt miners in from around the world. On the flip side, of course, dropping someone with one bullet feels immaculate. So it's a sad dichotomy of the classic, it's only fun when you're winning mentality. I wouldn't even be opposed to the one-hit wonder head-eyes if we could at least exchange some gunfire beforehand, reload, reposition, and then die with one bullet. At least then I feel as though I had a chance, even if it was fated for me to die from the start. I hope I'm not the only one with this mindset, because I know this sentiment of dying to one shot in the face is kind of hated across the community. But when the fights don't end so abruptly, Tarkov can give you one of, if not the best PvP engagements in any shooter. And I've stood by that statement, and I still do. But it feels like those heart-pumping moments are becoming less common, and it's really saddening. When fights end with a few bullets, there isn't a lot of room for playing around with what you have brought into the raid versus what your opponent has brought in. Outplaying someone by taking advantage of their choice of armor, weapons, bullets, you won't always know for sure what they have, because if you're that close to them to see that, you might already be dead. But going somewhere like dorms and hearing a shotgun ring out from the other end of the hallway gives you enough information that you shouldn't get any closer. Buckshot is most likely what they brought in with them, so keeping any semblance of range will prove more effective for you. Again, nothing is set in stone or guaranteed, but it's your best chance of winning that fight. And if things get out of control, being able to move around them multiple times if necessary always feels good. I find myself free to do this when attacking from afar, but when it's time to get up close and personal, it always feels as though it boils down to point fire and a little roll of the dice. I can't speak for anyone else other than myself, but even when I win those engagements, I don't feel like I was the better player. I just got lucky. I enjoy fights when I have to think, listen out for movement, if scavs distract them long enough for me to move to a different position and surprise them. Being able to get the advantage on someone after fighting for minutes is a rush that is not comparable to other shooters, because other games rely on twitchy reflexes and better aim in most cases. But in Tarkov, while those elements are certainly present, there are enough other factors that getting into a successful fight that they don't take such precedent when compared to other shooters. But an important question begins to surface when you start to play around with the idea of extending engagements between players. How long should fights be then? If we want to make them longer, what is the appropriate length for them? And that answer isn't simple, because not only will everyone have their own answer, but the game has enough wrinkles and complexities that don't allow for any specific amount of time to be the simple all-inclusive answer. No, it matters where you are, how many people you are fighting, what gear everyone has, what map you are currently on, how far into the wipe are we, and those are just some of the immediate questions that pop up after thinking about it for just a couple of seconds. But if I must give some answer, I would say any longer than what we currently have, because in most cases, fights end before either player empties a single mag of their weapon. We don't need the spongy juggernauts of old Tarkov, but just a few more bullets to land on the player would make things feel better than what it currently does. Because no matter how knowledgeable of Tarkov you are, you can say a lot just by going off the current feel of the game. This concept is much more difficult to explain, especially if you don't play Tarkov, but if you do play, I think you know what I mean. For quite some time now, the feel of the game has been off. And I'm not talking about, network performance problems. I mean, that's been an issue for 2 full wipes now since January. I just mean how the game feels to pilot. Running around, shooting, looting, there's always been this bad funk with the game for some time now. And there was a short spell when it was fixed after many people made videos talking about weight, movement, and some other aspects of the game and comparing it to older Tarkov. And there was a brief time where the game was much better. And now, with how much there are, with optimization issues alongside other problems, the game just doesn't feel good to play most of the time. Either way, the question of how long fights should be is very much a subjective one, so I encourage anyone who has an answer to sound off in the comments section below. The power creep of Tarkov across all its factors has drastically lowered the time to kill people in a lot of aspects of the game. Though there are plenty of exceptions where you will fight for your life down to the last breath, many instances of head eyes can be still felt across the community, and the idea of trying to slow that down by just a small margin is interesting considering how many different moving parts there are with Tarkov. But one thing is for certain, this game is still peak FPS bliss when at range. Each shot matters, there is more room for interpretation and maneuvering around your opponents, and the satisfaction curve is much higher than fighting those at close range. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments section below, whether Tarkov should have longer fights, and be sure to subscribe for more videos about the aspects of Tarkov that have so many moving parts that we most likely won't see any real changes anytime soon. I hope to see you in future ones.